We're all aware of the masterpiece that is the Red Dead Redemption series. To me, it's Rockstar's greatest achievement. But its predecessor, Red Dead Revolver, was in fact developed by Capcom, and they made it more of an arcade shooter than an open world experience. So when Rockstar decided to make a Western style Grand Theft Auto game, they had to get the blueprint from elsewhere. And that's when Gun enters the frame. A totemic release for the PlayStation 2. But before we get into all that, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe. Without further ado, let's go. The Wild West game Gun was developed by Neversoft, who are best known for the Tony Hawk games, and published by Activision in 2005. When you see the catalogue of games Neversoft were releasing around this time and the amount of money and sales those games were generating, it makes you wonder, why stray from a formula that you know works? The likely truth is, they got bored and wanted to stretch their creative muscles a bit more than they had been, and thus Gun was born. IGN voted Gun as the best story in their 2005 Video Game Awards, so writer Randall Jansen, best known for his work in The Mask of Zorro, clearly did something right. Having that, along with the dulcet tones of a star-stricken voice acting cast that included Thomas Jane, Lance Henriksen and Ron Perlman, was the ultimate recipe for what came to be. The story begins in the year 1880. Colton White and his father are aboard a boat selling the meat they caught on a little hunting trip they had, when suddenly they're under attack by a psychotic preacher called Reverend Josiah Reed and his goons. After revealing the truth to him that he isn't actually his father, Ned tells Cole to go to Dodge City and locate Jenny, the prostitute, before throwing him overboard to save him from the explosion that engulfed him in flames. When he finds her, Jenny informs Cole that Reverend Reed came from Empire City, so the two set off on their merry way to ask Mayor Hoodoo Brown about his whereabouts. After performing some tasks for the mayor in exchange for intel, Hoodoo tells Cole that Reed has taken poor Jenny hostage. Cole is unable to save her as he witnesses Reed slitting her throat, only to be knocked unconscious by Hoodoo. We then meet Thomas Magruder, the big bad and their boss. He informs Cole that he was responsible for both the Steamboat Massacre and Jenny's untimely death. Prior to being sent to jail to be executed the following morning, Cole discovers that Magruder and his father, Ned, had a lot of history with each other. A lot of history. He soon breaks out with two fellow prisoners by his side, Port, a member of the Resistance, and Soapy, a safecracker. Mighty useful that. Cole and Port go to the Resistance's hideout where he meets the leader, Clay Allison, who also happens to have history with Magruder. Apparently both he and Ned served under Magruder during the Civil War. Then he reveals the murderous psychopath's true intentions. He's on the look for Quivira, a lost city of gold, and is willing to use the Apache as his slaves to get what he so desires and wipe out anyone who gets in his way. Cole takes out Hoodoo and has thus managed to liberate Empire City from Magruder's tight grasp. Cole and Soapy go to the steamboat's wreckage to look for a safe that Cole saw on there, only to be captured by Sergeant Hollister, yet another man who's in bed with Magruder. Hollister and his soldiers have and are torturing the local Blackfoot tribe, so the duo save them to enable the group to aid them in their escape. After Hollister's death, they're attacked by Reed, but Cole manages to get his revenge for both Ned and Jenny's death. After visiting many wounds the Apache chief, Cole discovers that he has part of the Golden Cross of Coronado, which together with his own part will lead Magruder to Quivira. Upon telling him of his Apache heritage, Many Wounds explains to Cole that Ned was serving under Magruder when he turned on him after witnessing the brutal killings he did on the Apache during the Civil War, which is why he took Cole under his wing as his adopted son. After this, Many Wounds takes Cole to the peak of a mountain whereby the cross tells them that Quivira is hidden above where Magruder had been searching for it. That's when they're ambushed and poor Soapy gets kidnapped. He's tortured for information and unfortunately he caves and is forced to tell them about Quivira's whereabouts. Cole and Magruder's final confrontation begins in the mines and leads to inside the lost city itself. Cole defeats the ruthless tyrant by trapping his leg under some rubble as the mountain collapses in on and violently crushes him. Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention the controversy that was going on at the time of the release of Gun. The Association for American Indian Development wasn't happy with how they were being represented and boycotted the game as a result. They claimed that the game has, quote, derogatory, harmful, and inaccurate depictions of American Indians, and wanted the game edited and redistributed because of it. Speaking as someone who isn't American Indian, this may be naive of me to say, but it seems to be a classic case of people not being accepting of human history. What was occurring in those times was obviously not acceptable and has no place in the modern world. But they did happen, and this game takes place in that time period, so it would be weirder and perhaps more controversial if they didn't include it. Since there isn't a national curriculum in the US, there are some states that wouldn't even learn about American Indians in school. Therefore, including it in media like video games sheds a light on the racist atrocities that were taking place in the American West during the 1800s. To those who, like me, aren't from those parts of America and won't have necessarily learned about these in history classes like some may have. In response to the controversy, Activision apologized for any offense caused and issued a brief statement. Activision do not condone or advocate any of the atrocities that occurred in the American West during the 1800s. GUN was designed to reflect the harshness of life in the American frontier at the time. It was not Activision's intention to offend any race or ethnic group. And that was that. Nothing else came from their complaints, so please let me know what you think about this topic in the comments below. The game plays as a third-person shooter with pistols, rifles, shotguns, sharpshooters, bows, melee weapons and throwables all at your disposal. You're able to angle your aim around obstacles to hit your target from behind cover, and entering quick draw mode acts in the same way as the Deadeye mechanic does in Red Dead Redemption, by slowing down time to help with picking off multiple enemies when outnumbered. However, whenever you use a larger projectile like a cannon, the game goes into first person. The issue with that is that it lacks a reticle, isn't completely aligned, and the shooting is quite angular, so it's easy to misjudge a shot when attempting to destroy the rodent-like pests that are in your way. Mounting and riding your horse helps you get from place to place in the large world exhibited in the game. As you do so, you're able to trample all matter of animals with your trusty steed and watch the dynamic cloud movements liven up the world. Environments are beautiful, albeit slightly barren. Although, given the context of the setting and the time period, it kinda makes sense in the same way that Red Dead Redemption can feel that way. That doesn't mean it's completely empty though, oh no. On your travels, you might have to fight off an ambush from the bandits, play cards in the saloon, discover that Colton's swimming's about on par with John Marston, or come across gold ores that you can mine for resources that give you an extra bit of dosh. There are also side missions you can undertake that can include either subduing or killing criminals based on their last known location as given on the wanted poster. Doing bits and pieces for the sheriff, Pat Denton, Earl, the rancher, the federal marshal, and many, many more. They're quite varied too with the activities they entail, protecting and herding calves, cows, horses, stopping bar fights and fighting off gangs. This added layer makes the world feel more alive and like events are occurring around Colton as opposed to everything else being there solely to feed his narrative. From doing that, you can gain money and stat boosts. Increasing stats is necessary to cope with the increasingly difficult enemies that cross your path. And what can the money be used for, I hear you ask? As you can imagine, you come across Indian traders and general store shopkeepers that can give you some useful gear and upgrades. For the Western themed feeling to be complete, the soundtrack had to be on point, and it was. The exceptional Christopher Lannis, who has been part of some massive franchises in the gaming sphere, with the likes of Medal of Honor, Mass Effect and Sims having been graced with his talents, performed some stellar music as he truly made his presence known in the development of the game. While much innovation was needed in the way of immersion, which the Red Dead Redemption series does really well, the 6 to 7 hours that GUN lasts is truly a special experience that focuses on fun and simplicity and does it really well. But while we're on the topic, if you're interested, I've made a retrospective analysis on the brilliance of Red Dead Redemption 2, so feel free to check that out. Thanks so much for watching, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, comment your thoughts and subscribe for more retrospectives and video essays like this. See ya!